Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are doing a deep dive into Google's pretty amazing AI assistant, NotebookLM. The whole promise is that it's your personal, private research partner. But, how private is it really? When you upload your personal files, where does that data actually go? Well, let's find out.
This is the big question, isn't it? It's the one thing that's probably on your mind. You've got your notes, your research, maybe even some super sensitive drafts you want to work with. But can you upload them without that nagging feeling, wondering who else might get a peek at them? That's exactly what we're going to figure out today.
All right, so to really get to the bottom of this, we have to start with Google's core promise. This is the absolute foundation for how NotebookLM is supposed to handle all your information from the second you upload it.
Okay, this is the big one. This is probably the most crucial point to understand. Google states very clearly that nothing you do inside NotebookLM is used to train its AI models. So what does that mean? It means your documents, your questions, and even the AI's answers to you are completely off limits. Your work stays your work. It doesn't just get absorbed into some giant AI brain.
Now, the reason this is even possible is because NotebookLM is what's called a closed corpus system. It sounds a little technical, I know, but the idea is actually super simple. Think of it like this. For every single notebook you create, you're essentially creating a tiny private sandbox for the AI. Its knowledge is limited only to the documents you put inside that one notebook. It can't use what it learned in one of your projects to answer a question in another, and it sure can't use your data to help some other user out. It's walled off.
So this is where things get really interesting, because we need to talk about a vital distinction. We often throw around the words privacy and confidentiality like they're the same thing, but in the world of AI, they mean two very different things. Let's break it down. Your privacy, that is absolutely guaranteed. Like we just said, no training the AI on your stuff. But your confidentiality, the promise that no human being ever sees your data, that's actually conditional. For the most part, your files are totally isolated, but there is one specific action you can take that basically opens the door.
And here it is, it's the feedback button. Clicking that little thumbs up or thumbs down icon does way more than just send a simple, hey, this worked report. What it actually does is package up your entire notebook, we're talking all your source documents, your full chat history, absolutely everything, and it sends it over to Google for a human to potentially analyze.
So let's just walk through exactly what happens. 1. You click the feedback button. 2. A review case is automatically created, and it contains everything in that notebook. And 3. That case can then be picked up and inspected by a person at Google to figure out what went wrong. Now, this is how they improve the product, but it means your confidentiality is no longer a sure thing. Okay, so that feedback loophole is a pretty big deal, right? But it is super important to note that the rules we've just talked about, they mostly apply to personal Google accounts. If you're using NotebookLM through a work or a school account, a workspace account, things are different. You actually get an extra and very important layer of protection.
This chart just makes the difference crystal clear. So model training, that's off limits for everybody, which is great. But the real game changer here is human review. If you've got a workspace or education account, Google's policy guarantees there is no human review of your data, even if you hit that feedback button. That is a massive advantage for any company or school that needs to guarantee confidentiality. All right, so now that we know the rules of the road, how can you use NotebookLM smartly and effectively while keeping all your data safe? Let's put together a simple, practical playbook based on what you're actually working with.
First up, the easy stuff, the low-risk category. This is all the material that's either public knowledge, it's just your personal notes, or it's been properly anonymized. So think about your own study notes, articles you downloaded, or maybe notes from a meeting where you've stripped out all the names and identifiers. For this kind of material, you can use NotebookLM with very little work. Next, we move into the medium risk zone, and this is where you need to be a little more careful. We're talking about things like client work, internal business plans, or maybe research that just isn't public yet. The absolute key here is aggressive anonymization. Before you even think about uploading anything in this category, you should be replacing names, company info, and any identifying details with generic placeholders.
And finally, we have the high-risk category. You should think of this as the big red zone. This includes legally protected information, like health records under HIPAA or student records under FERPA. It also includes things like trade secrets or anything covered by attorney-client privilege. Now, unless your organization has a specific data agreement with Google and has given you the explicit green light, this kind of data should absolutely stay out of NotebookLM, period.
So to make this all super easy, here is your 4-step safety checklist. 1. Figure out what you're working with.
Classify your documents into low, medium, or high risk. 2. Keep your sensitive projects in their own separate notebooks. Don't mix them. 3. Anonymize everything that needs it. And 4, this is the golden rule. On a notebook that contains anything even remotely sensitive, just don't touch the feedback button. Ever.
So, let's just boil this all down. What's the final takeaway? Here's what you can trust. Your data will not be used for model training, and those workspace accounts give you a huge extra layer of protection. But here's what requires caution. You have to be careful with that feedback button. You shouldn't upload regulated data on a personal account, and you should always anonymize sensitive information.
At the end of the day, NotebookLM is an incredibly powerful tool, and its privacy protections are actually quite strong right out of the box. But as we've seen, real data security isn't just about the tool's settings, it's about how you choose to use it. Knowing the rules empowers you to make the right choice for your data.